Welcome everyone to another edition of the Comic Report. My name is Eric, and today I'm going to talk about kind of my reactions and thoughts on the reveals that came out today for the DC Rebirth at Wondercon over the weekend. As many of you know, DC Comics announced about a month or two ago that they were going to be doing what was called Rebirth. No one knew exactly what it was. This weekend, Dan DiDio, Jim Lee, and Jeff Johns all announced the various creative teams that were going to be working on the DC titles when Rebirth starts in June. So let's talk first about what Rebirth is not. DC Comics Rebirth is not a return of the pre-Flashpoint DC universe. It is a continuation of the New 52 universe that we've been reading for the last 5 years. A lot of the books and storylines that are coming out of Rebirth are continuations of things that have been going on in the DC universe. Partially like Dan Jurgens talking about Superman, Lois, and Clark being important to Rebirth and other books, and some reveals that came out of the newest issue of Batman. DC is going and trying to set up Rebirth a little bit in their titles now, but everything they're doing in Rebirth seems to be a continuation of what's coming out of the New 52. If you managed to see the panel, it was live streamed this afternoon on DC's YouTube channel. They showed the cover to DC Comics Rebirth Special Number 1 with all the New 52 characters essentially reaching out to this hand coming out of an area of light on the cover. They didn't reveal who that hand was, but it's going to be very integral to that story and everything coming out of Rebirth after that. They said that the Rebirth Special is going to reveal one of the biggest secrets of not just the New 52, but of DC Comics history. So we can all, I guess, place our bets as to what that could be at this point. With this Rebirth, they said there's going to be a lot of characters coming back. There's also going to be a character death, a major character death in this first book. So we'll see kind of what happens when Rebirth number 1 comes out. I do have a theory or two of who the character who may be dying is going to be, but we'll get to that more later in the video. Some aspects of the Rebirth announcements and things the creative teams were doing artistically as well. You can definitely tell DC is kind of going back, at least visually for right now, to their roots, to the legacy. We've got Nightwing. Dick Grayson is going to be back in his blue costume, no longer wearing his red costume that he had at the start of the New 52. It's not established if he's still going to be a spy and whatnot, and that the Nightwing story is going to continue from the Grayson series. So we'll see how that interacts. Are they going to one more day Nightwing's identity back into continuity, or are they going to? Or is Nightwing going to be his spy persona going forward? One of the things they're bringing back visually again is Green Arrow's goatee. He is going to be back to, I don't know if you can see it in the shot, but they're going to go back to having Oliver with the goatee again. I think Jeff Johns said that all the best Green Arrow stories, Oliver had a beard. Even in Detective Comics, they showed Tim Drake, I think still called Red Robin, but he's back actually into a more traditional Robin costume, the red and the green. If anybody saw the images online, you can tell that the emblem is 2 R's, I believe, still. So he's still probably going by Red Robin, since Damian is still around, and there's rumors of another character that might be taking up the mantle of Robin. DC again visually is getting us kind of back to more traditional looks for some of these characters. I know Dan DiDio talked a lot about DC kind of losing their way with the New 52. From just so far from a visual standpoint, DC is paying attention to what the fans are kind of wanting and asking for in that sense. During the panel, they had the various creative team families come out at different times. They had the Bat family come out, the Superman family come out, and they had the Justice League family come out, as well as their fourth pillar, which apparently is the Harley Quinn Suicide Squad group. Again, going with kind of going back to legacy and how things kind of were. Some of the things they established during like the Batman panel was that they were going to bring back the original Birds of Prey. You're going to have Black Canary on the team, Barbara Gordon, who's still Batgirl, but it also involves a Huntress, which, if I remember correctly, the Huntress in the New 52 was first introduced as Helena Bartonelli. It was later established that she was actually Helena Wayne just before the World's Finest comic book started. I'm curious as to whether or not this Huntress is the actual Helena Bartonelli, or if it's Helena Wayne coming back from Earth 2. I guess we'll find out in summertime when these books start launching, but that's one book that's going back to, again, legacy roots. You're also having, again, like I said, Tim Drake back in the Robin suit. Cassandra Cain is back as, not Batgirl, but she is back in the Bat family in Detective Comics, as well as Batwoman coming back. Her and Batman kind of doing like a superhero boot camp for all the younger sidekicks. Tim Drake, Stephanie Brown, Cassandra Cain, all those characters are going to be in Detective Comics. I don't think Stephanie Brown's been seen since Batman Eternal. Batwoman hasn't been seen, I don't think, again, since her book was canceled. It'd be interesting to see these characters coming back in to be used again, and especially with Tim and Stephanie. I don't think they've really met. Maybe a little bit in Batman Eternal, but they haven't really interacted, I don't think, anywhere else. I haven't been reading Teen Titans, so let me know in the comments if they've met it there. But those are two characters who had a very broad, rich history before the New 52, so it'd be really interesting to see if that can get rekindled in the Rebirth era of DC. DC then talked about the Superman family books, which I feel like had the biggest non-announcement of the entire panel, and that might be because of the fact that I'm very behind on my DC reading. As of this recording, this is March 26th. This month, March, of the original New 52 titles, the ones that have survived are putting out their issue 50s, and some of the books I am still back right at Convergence. I've kept up news-wise with books, but as far as reading them, I haven't really been keeping up. I've been more concentrated on Marvel books than I have DC books. So with Superman, I'm still halfway through the Truth storyline. But during the panel, when they were talking about the Superman books, especially Action Comics, they were talking about how it was going to be starring the pre-New 52, pre-Flashpoint Superman, starring in Superman, Lois and Clark. What was interesting to me about the Superman announcements is that no one really said anything about the New 52 Superman. All the artwork that they showed throughout the panel, it looked like it was all the Superman that they're talking about from Action Comics, kind of wearing more in line of a movie Superman outfit. So it really made me wonder, and again, this is speculation, and please let me know in the comments if I'm completely wrong about this, if there's some development in the main Superman books going on. But I do know that, impossible spoilers here, that in the Superman books, he's without the full use of his powers, and recently reignited them using kryptonite. So I'm really wondering, kind of going back to the Rebirth #1, if the hero that's going to possibly die in DC Comics Rebirth, if it's going to be the New 52 Superman. I believe it was during the media Q&A, they said the three main books that are going to be instrumental in ushering in the New 52 are going to be DC Rebirth #1, Justice League #50, as well as Superman 52. So it really makes me wonder, in favor of utilizing the more iconic, more respected pre-52 Superman, are they going to kill off the current New 52 Superman? Again, this is just speculation, but as of right now, my belief, my theory is that New 52 Superman is possibly going to die during Rebirth and would be replaced by the pre-52 Superman. Let me know in the comments if you agree with that, or if I'm just completely off base. There's something in the books that I don't know because I'm so far behind in reading, but I'd be interested very much to hear what you guys have to say about that. Other announcements on the panel that I found interesting and kind of spoiled other announcements that they came out with. Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz are both going to be the Green Lanterns in Justice League when they finally get into Rebirth. Which brings us to the announcement of the Green Lanterns book, which is going to star the two of them. When they announced that the two of them are going to be in Justice League, my immediate thought was, okay, they're going to be the ones that Green Lanterns is based on. So Hal Jordan is going to be in space with the Green Lantern Corps in his book, Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps, and then in Green Lanterns, you're going to have Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz co-starring in that book, and then also being in the Justice League. They announced the Trinity main book, which I'm really hoping with that book we kind of do get back into the whole concept that the main Trinity, which is Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, that it gets back to the three of them kind of being like the main heroes of the DC universe. I didn't really feel throughout the New 52 that the three of them carried as much weight as they should have. For the group that's supposed to be the trinity of the DC universe, they just sometimes they just felt disconnected, even with Superman and Wonder Woman being in a relationship. I still felt always a disconnection between the three of them, that they didn't, a disconnection that wasn't there previously. They felt very connected, the three of them, almost like a Illuminati style group with the big three that I don't think fully carried over into the New 52. And then the Titans and Teen Titans books, I had theorized before when they announced the Titans book that it was possibly going to be the older heroes instead of the younger Teen Titans group possibly coming out of Titans Hunt, that this was going to be a group led by Nightwing and feature what older fans consider the definitive Titans team with Nightwing, Donna Troy, Wally West, all those characters. This book doesn't have Wally in it, but it does have other aspects of the big name Titans. You got Donna Troy in there, Nightwing, Arsenal's in the book. I believe Aqualad is in there as well. Was a fifth character that I can't remember offhand who it is. And then you have the Teen Titans, which is the younger characters, with Damian Wayne believing that he needs to lead the Teen Titans, apparently. I believe from the cover that team's going to have Beast Boy in it, Starfire, Raven, and Kid Flash all in that team. As I was watching the announcement video and whatnot, I was a little bit disappointed during the video that we weren't going to see more of pre-52 worlds, either the pre-Crisis Earths, the pre-Flashpoint Earths, that there would be no really return to that. I was actually kind of hoping that Detective Comics and Action Comics, and then reverting back to the original numbering, that they would be two books that would be showing pre-New 52 worlds, which is not the case. Everything is staying firmly in the New 52, though we're not calling it the New 52 anymore. It's DC Rebirth. I think internally I'm kind of referring to it as New 52 2.0. Dan DiDio did talk about making major missteps with certain things of the book, so it very much seems that DC is not willing to just completely abandon the New 52, that they want to try to make it work. Some things from this conference, I think, can work with the right creative teams. It may not be fully what fans have been wanting. I know there's a lot of fans who would love to have a return of the pre-Flashpoint universe, but it seems like DC is trying to make a universe that incorporates different aspects of the past. Instead of just completely getting rid of what they had before, they're going to try to steer the New 52 back on course. I'm a little skeptical as to whether or not this is going to work or not. There's definitely a few books that were announced that I'm very interested in reading, and there were some that I honestly have no desire. I'm not going to name them right now, but like I said, there's some books I just have no desire in reading. I will say, if DC is going to do Rebirth as a continuation of the New 52, there are some things I would personally love to see come out of this. I feel like if you're going to stick with the New 52 world, and you're really wanting to get tighter in on the continuity and whatnot, you really need to let fans know what past stories, if any, still count in the New 52 Rebirth universe. Things like, did Death of Superman happen? It did happen and then it didn't happen. Things like, there being a Teen Titans team before and then there not being a Teen Titans team. How much of Hal Jordan being Parallax actually happened. If Death of Superman didn't happen, we know Killing Joke occurred, but there's just so many things that we need to know, whether or not you can do it as a series of miniseries down the road, whether or not you go really big and do a couple of weekly series detailing the first 5 years of the New 52 that we never actually saw, bringing back kind of like the Secret Origins series, detailing the origins of some of the New 52 big characters. I think that would be one thing to also help readers, especially new readers coming out of Rebirth, kind of understanding these characters a little more, is, doing a couple miniseries, Secret Origins miniseries, talking about the beginnings of some of these characters. I'll say that after watching the panel, I am hopeful, not as optimistic as I was, but I am still hopeful that DC can turn the New 52 around. I am a little disappointed that we're not getting books on alternate Earths. They didn't even talk about an Earth 2 book, although it is coming. I'm going to be cautiously optimistic that DC can, if they're wanting to completely turn the New 52 around, I applaud them for that. I mean, you've worked hard on creating this universe over the last 5 years. You don't want to completely throw it away. So I commend them for wanting to keep it going and for wanting to steer it back onto the right path with the twice monthly shipping on a lot of the books. I'm gonna have to pick and choose, and DC's really gonna have to sell me on some of these stories in order to get me to buy into them in the long run. But I'm very willing to give some of these different shot, and I'm really hopeful that, like I said, DC can turn this around. I feel like if Rebirth doesn't pan out the way they want, they're really going to be left with two options. One is a return to some kind of pre-Flashpoint DC universe, and two would be to essentially ultimize their line, basically doing what Marvel did with the Ultimate series and start everything fresh. Maybe not go that drastic. So did you guys watch the event on DC's YouTube channel, or did you actually go to the convention itself and see the panel live? Let me know. Let me know what announcements that you found were very interesting. Are you excited for the new Aquaman book? Are you gonna dive into the Teen Titans and the Titans books? Are you excited for the Batman boot camp that's going to be a detective? Were you just completely disappointed that your DC universe wasn't brought back with Rebirth and you're just going to completely drop the books? Let me know in the comments what you think, and any theories that you guys have of some of the stories that were brought about, anything like that. I'd be very interested in knowing what you guys have to say. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later.